Okay, I want to talk more about the law of sines. We're going to use the law of sines to determine angles and sides of triangles that are not right triangles. That's SOHCAHTOA for right triangles. These are non-right triangles. Excuse me. Two conditions for when we use it. If we're given information on side, 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 or side, angle, side. First, let's talk about side, side, side. Okay? Here's a generic law of cosines, a squared. One of the sides squared equals the other two sides squared, b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c, and then the cosine of angle A. So whatever's on the left of the equal sign matches up with the angle. Okay? You only use, so for side, 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 you have to use law of cosines. You have no angle information. And if you have no angle information, guess what? You're going to have a side here, and a side here. You're going to put an A, B, C, and B, C, and you know everything, but what don't you know? You don't know angle A. So when you have side, 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 like this right here, 5, 6, 9, you have to solve for an angle. And you can pick any angle you want to solve for. Okay? Remember how we label sides. They're opposite the angle that forms them. What I recommend strongly is you always solve for the biggest angle. So here the biggest angle is opposite the biggest side, so let's solve for it first. We encountered on the oblique triangle exercise an error that can occur because when you use law of sines, in quadrant 1 and 2 you could have angles that have the same, the same sign, and we ended up, you have to double check things, you can mess up and make an error. It won't happen if we use law of cosines and apply it to the biggest angle first, okay? And then you'll get that out of the way. You won't have that problem, okay? All right? So we're going to side, side, side. We know all three sides, A, B, and C. What we don't know is angle A. So let's plug in our information. Again, we're going to solve for the biggest angle, A. So across from that is 9. So that's what we're solving for. This side goes with this angle right here. So 9 squared equals, what are the remaining two sides? I don't care if they're B or C, they're just the remaining two sides, right? And that's going to be 6 and 5. 6 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 6 times 5 times cosine of A or theta, whatever you want to call it, okay? All right? All you have to do is, let's just simplify. 81, I'm going to make this the same for everybody. No different techniques. Let's just do it all the same. 9 squared is 81. 6 squared is 36 plus 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, minus 2 times 6. These are all factors of multiplication. Okay, let's knock this part here out. Let's simplify this. 6 times 5 is 30, and times 2, this is going to be 60, so minus 60 times cosine of A. All right, so all we have to do, we've got everything simplified. Let's add this together. We're going to add these together and subtract it from both sides, and we'll be left with this. Okay, so let's do 36 plus 25 is 61 equals 81 equals 61 minus 60 cosine A. I like switching colors here, okay? All right, so we've still simplified. Okay, now, all we have to do is, these two will be simplified. Let's just subtract. So we're going to do 2 algebraic steps after simplification. All we've done so far is simplified everything. First algebraic step, subtract this number. Minus 61, minus 61. This leaves 20. That's 0. And 20 equals negative 60 cosine A. This is multiplication. Negative 60 times cosine of A. We undo multiplication with division, so we're going to this is the second step. Divide. We're going to divide by negative 60. That's 1. Negative 60 over negative 60 is 1. It cancels out. So cosine A equals 20 over negative 60. Okay? And it's okay to have a negative number because you can have a negative cosine. Where's cosine negative? In quadrant, in the left half of the circle, quadrant 2 and 3. All right? But we didn't solve for A yet, right? We have to do inverse cosine now. So finally, cosine A equals 20 over 60, negative 60. Inverse cosine of 20 over negative 60 will equal, I've got it on this calculator here, I think it's 107, 109, so 109.5. Okay, recap. 3 sides, plug them in, the law of cosine. Plug in your side, side. So 965, we did all this, you simplify everything. Then you subtract that first number, the b squared plus c squared. You add them together, you simplify it, you subtract that from both sides, and then you divide by what's next to the cosine. Okay? Let's do one more. Okay? Here's another version of the formula. We put b squared on the other side. Okay? And that equals what? The other two sides added together, minus a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. Okay, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you have here, the other two sides are over here. Okay? So let's solve for, what did I solve for here? Okay, let's take the smallest angle, which is across from the smallest side. And that'll be 5 squared. Okay? I don't care what angle you call it. We're going to solve for this angle here. So 5 squared equals what? The other two sides we're going to put in, right? 6 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 6 times 9 cosine b. Let's simplify. 25 equals 36 plus 81 minus 9 times 6 times 2. That's 54 times 2. That's 108 minus 108 times cosine of b or theta, whatever. Okay? Again, we simplify this. This will be 25 equals 117. 36 and 81 is 117 minus 108 cosine of theta or b, whatever, okay? All right, so all we've done is simplify. What do? Subtract this number from both sides. That's 0. This is, what, negative 92. Negative 92. Okay? So negative 92 equals this multiplication, this product here. Negative 92 equals negative 108 cosine b. So the first step, subtract from both sides. The second algebraic step is divide. We're going to divide by that. You know, the negative 2ab or negative 2bc, whatever. This is negative 108 divided by negative 108. That's gone. Cosine b equals negative 92 over 108. Okay, the negatives will cancel out. But yeah, you can put it in the calculator any way you want. Again, inverse cosine of negative 92 over negative 108. Okay? Inverse cosine of that, okay? Side, side, side. Plug in your 3 sides. The variable is this, and that's what you have to solve for. That's what you have to isolate. Okay? We're going to practice these. And this ends up being 30. Inverse cosine of that is 31.6 degrees. Okay, finally. The other time you use law of cosine is side angle side. It's very simple. You've got 2 sides and the included angle, this angle in between the 2 sides, okay? Law of cosines. You cannot use law of sines. You don't have any matching known ratios of like an angle to its side. So it's law of cosines. And when you use this, you are solving always, every single time, for the side across from the angle. Okay? So the nice thing is, you know this angle, and here's your two sides. So this is what you're solving for. This is the real easy case where you just plug in these numbers, okay? So let's do this. Side angle side, law of cosines, okay? That's the second case, okay? So in this case, this would be, let's say I've got c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. This would be angle c, and this would be little c in this case, all right? Like I said, it doesn't matter. I'm going to solve for the side opposite the angle. So, c squared equals, what are my two sides? 8 and 11. 8 squared plus 11 squared minus 2. Guess what? Times 8 and 11. Times 8 times 11. Cosine, we know it, 40. Very easy. Simplify. 64 plus 121 minus 88 times 2 is 176 minus 176 cosine of 40. Whatever this works out to be, guess what? C squared equals that. And we'll have to square root both sides. And we'll get C equals, and we'll solve for that side. Okay? Once you get that side, oops. Once you get that side, let's say it's 9. Okay, now you can do law of sines if you want. You've got sine of 40 is to 9, as this angle is to 8, and we can go ahead and solve. And then after, and we can proceed to solve for the whole triangle. Okay? All right. Recap. Law of cosines. Side angle side. Side angle side. And law of sines. I'm sorry. And so backtrack. Law of cosines. Side angle side, which we just did, and what we started off with, law of cosines for side, side, side. Sorry, I'm rushing trying to finish this up. So side, side, side. Okay, you know all three sides. That's when you solve for the angle. Okay? All right, that's it. We're going to practice this some more. It's not that tough. It just takes practice. Okay? All right, have a good night.